What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Khamzat breaks silence on recent move. Khamzat Chimaev recently stirred up quite a bit of discussion among fans when it was confirmed that he would be representing the United Arab Emirates the next time he steps into the octagon, rather than Sweden. Many speculated that there were political motives behind his decision, prompting the undefeated contender to speak on the matter. In an Instagram video, Chimaev spoke about the move, explaining that Stockholm will always be his home. To everyone who says that I left the country, left Sweden, I just moved to Dubai. Come to this city, friends. Everyone is trying to make a huge political event out of this, but it's better for my career, my training. It's always sunny here. You don't freeze. I will always respect Stockholm, my home, and I will always come back. I make decisions based on the interests of my career and my family. This comes first for me. Everyone who is rooting for me in Sweden, I respect you, and I will also represent you. The move comes ahead of Chimaev's upcoming UFC 294 clash with Paulo Costa, which will take place in Abu Dhabi, and we'll see him look to enter into a stacked middleweight title picture. Whether he can punch his ticket to a title shot in hopes of bringing a belt back to his new home, only time will tell. Shout out to our first comments on yesterday's video. Thanks for the support. Next up, let's take a look at Sean O'Malley reveals next UFC fight. Ever since Sugar Sean O'Malley emerged unscathed from his UFC 292 clash with Aljamain Sterling, fans have been wondering when he would return to action. The initial speculation was that O'Malley could return before the end of the year to co-headline a card with Conor McGregor. However, a welterweight tilt between Leon Edwards and Colby Covington has since been scheduled for the main event slot of the card. During a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, O'Malley spoke about his initial desire to return before the end of the year and the plans the UFC has for him in 2024.
I really did truly want to fight in December, like when I called out Cheeto in December. But then they talked to UFC and they kind of already had. They were trying to get Colby Leon together and they didn't. I asked them, they want me to main event my own show, which I think's dope. I'm down with that. So,
according to Sugar Sean, a fight between he and Vera is still on the table. However, according to UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier, Aljamain Sterling deserves an immediate rematch. He spoke in a video for his YouTube channel.
Because if Sean O'Malley doesn't feel like he wants to fight him, he won't be forced. Is it unfair that Aljo doesn't get a title fight right away? Probably. I'm taking that back. No, probably. Absolutely. Aljamain should get a title fight. He should get a rematch. But he won't, because O'Malley's not looking back.
Between an immediate rematch against Aljamain Sterling and potential fights with Chito Vera and Merab Dvalishvili, it's safe to say that no matter what direction the UFC goes, 2024 is sure to present an exciting showdown for O'Malley's first title defense. Next, let's take a look at Dana White and promoter go back and forth. Dana White and Showtime's Stephen Espinosa have begun to engage in quite a fierce back and forth as of late. White recently ripped Espinosa while speaking to media members, before then taking it a step further and cracking a joke at the promoter's expense on Twitter. After a hilarious production blunder during the recent ONE FC card began to go viral, White couldn't help but join in on the jokes, writing, "Espinosa has taken over the production for ONE FC." On Saturday night, Espinosa spoke to Inside Fighting following the Alvarez vs. Charlo fight, where he gave his thoughts on White's recent jabs.
It's a little creepy. He seems a little obsessed, to be completely honest. I mean, I was just minding my own business, and he started with F. Espinosa, and then, I don't know him well, but personally, from what I've seen, I don't think we're going to be good friends. I mean, I think he's a little in his feelings, just based on, that lengthy post he wrote. So I'd say, look, I hit a nerve. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why he spent so much time talking and thinking about me.
Whether or not White continues to take aim at Espinosa, only time will tell. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at UFC updates. Yuri Prochazka finalized his return to the octagon at UFC 295 this weekend, with a photo of him signing the contract to compete against Alex Pereira surfacing in commemoration of the occasion. The photo quickly circulated around the MMA community, with fans weighing in on how the fight could potentially play out, given that the Czech samurai will be returning from what Dana White said UFC doctors called the worst shoulder injury they've ever seen. With the UFC 295 bout now signed, at least on Prochazka's side, it'll be interesting to see who captures UFC gold when two-time Glory kickboxing champion Alex Pereira and former light heavyweight champion Yuri Prochazka collide in New York. This weekend also saw veteran referee Mike Beltran, who fight fans may recognize for his signature mustache, make a big announcement on Instagram. At UNF 12 in Los Angeles, Beltran made his return to refereeing after a year off. As he explained in an Instagram post, while he was absent from the cage, he was going through a serious battle with diverticulitis, which resulted in doctors surgically removing over a foot of his colon. He wrote in part, "After a full year of being out of the cage and recovering from my surgery for diverticulitis, last night was my first show back. I was a bit rusty last night after being out for a year and very critical of myself. However, the more I'm in there, the better I will be. I felt strong and I'm back." Fight fans will see Beltran back in action at Bellator 300 coming up, and can also expect to see him working UFC cards again very soon. Next, let's take a look at Stipe Miocic on why he accepted Jon Jones' fight. At 41 years old, Stipe Miocic is widely regarded as one of, if not the single greatest heavyweight in UFC history. With an impressive run that saw him defend the belt 3 times before then capturing UFC gold a second time, Miocic's legacy is already cemented. Given that, many have questioned why he's chosen to return from a 2-year layoff in order to challenge heavyweight champion Jon Jones. As he explained on MMA Junkie Radio,
I think there's a lot of reasons. One, I want to fight the best. I think that's what I'm a competitor. I love to compete. I love fighting, and I'm still having fun. Two, my last fight didn't go as well as I wanted it to. I'm ready to bounce back and get that win.
Heading into the fight, Miocic is sitting as a pretty firm underdog. However, the latest reports out of his camp have given plenty of fans hope that he'll be able to overcome the ring rust and defeat Jones next month in New York. With the fight on the horizon, it'll be interesting to see how things play out. Next up, let's take a look at Francis Ngannou reacts to Tyson Fury announcing new fight. Ahead of Francis Ngannou's upcoming boxing match with Tyson Fury, the former UFC champ has learned that an undisputed title fight between Fury and Alexander Usyk is reportedly finalized. While no other details about the bout have been confirmed, a report from ESPN has indicated that the bout could take place shortly before Christmas on December 23rd. The date would put the contest less than 2 months after Fury is set to face Francis Ngannou in Saudi Arabia on October 28th. The situation caught the attention of the Predator, who tweeted, "I don't know what's the minimum medical suspension in boxing, but I really don't understand how Tyson can fight in December after what's going to happen on October 28th. From the sounds of things, Ngannou has even more motivation to play spoiler when the two collide later this month." Michael Bisping sends message to the UFC. Over the years, the UFC Hall of Fame has expanded to include more than just UFC champions. With a modern wing to celebrate recent champions such as Khabib Nurmagomedov, a pioneer wing to honor those who helped make the sport what it is today, like Chuck Liddell, a fight wing to honor the greatest bouts of all time, and a contributors wing commemorating those who helped grow the UFC outside of the octagon, the Hall of Fame truly encompasses all aspects of the UFC. As such, Hall of Famer Michael Bisping believes that there should be a place for both of the Diaz brothers. He spoke in a video for his YouTube channel where he made their case.
Do these guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? My God, of course, without a shadow of a doubt, without question. I say both of them. When 20, 30, 40, 50 years pass, 100 years from now, okay, they deserve to be remembered. They stand out as two of the most aggressive, game, always ready, always came prepared, always in shape, dangerous in all areas, great striking, amazing submissions, and just a massive following. How could we forget about those people? I mean, if I get one of those, Nick and Nate Diaz certainly deserve one of them.
As we've seen in the past, enshrinements take place during International Fight Week, where new inductees are honored with their own night. Whether or not the UFC decides to enshrine the Diaz brothers in the Hall of Fame down the line, when they both decide to hang up their gloves, only time will tell. Islam Makhachev fires back at Charles Oliveira after Charles recently came out and said that he thinks it's unfair that the UFC is making him fight in Abu Dhabi again.
He doesn't necessarily think it's fair, but it's the game. And he, that's where the champion is. He calls the shots, but he's coming back for his belt, wherever that is.
Islam took to Twitter to say this: "Charles, I asked to fight in the US in the summer, but the UFC has other plans. I'm a UFC fighter like you. I never set the conditions for the UFC and fought where they offered. My last fight took place in Australia at the Challenger's backyard. Simple. Everything you say makes no sense." Sean O'Malley sends a message to Paddy Pimblett. On a recent podcast, Sean O'Malley explains why Paddy fighting a guy like Tony Ferguson doesn't actually benefit him at all and will just get overlooked by MMA fans. Here's what he had to say to Paddy.
But a big fight that just got announced, a couple of days ago, was Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. Initial reaction, I'm like, God damn, that's a lose-lose for Paddy. You go out there and beat Tony, who's really good, but on a 6-fight losing streak. So you beat him, you're not going to get credit for beating Tony Ferguson. You're going to get credit for beating a guy you should beat him. But it's a dangerous fight. It's not like that easy of a fight. It's not going there. It's going to be a tough fight. Tony could 100% win this fight. And that is, I mean, now you're coming off of a loss to a guy. I mean, at least it's still T Ferg, but it's like, is it T Ferg? I don't know.
It's like the reincarnation of T Ferg.
Top comments. Sean the Style Breaker Strickland. Whoever said that, it's gold. Love it. Oh, hell no. Did Tristan just equate I'm not a scammer, you're a scammer because people bet on fights? Bruh, Sean doesn't tell people what to do with their money, or have a course called Hustlers Fucking University that promises to give people some BS knowledge on how to get rich. Tristan really calling Sean a little man, knowing full well Sean would absolutely destroy him in a fight, lol. Not to mention that was a massive straw man argument. Somebody choosing to bet on an event with live odds, stats, and figures is not the same as pretending to be a woman and deceiving men and little boys for money, and trying to pretend they're at all similar is just dishonest. Someone responded with, also, betting has nothing to do with how much fighters get paid. It's all about how many views you can bring in. In what world do you get money for people betting on your fights? If I bet my buddy $20 Sean beats Tristan, my buddy gets the money, not Sean. Oh hell nah, Sean is a national treasure. We can't let them pop off the mouth like that. Although he could beat up those guys at the same time, Sean should ignore them. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.